had never taken the time to rank all the Fancy Pants games before, so I decided why not. I got the inspiration for this video from Luke Plays, who did this exact thing more than a year ago at this point. I took from his list of 10 Fancy Pants games and used that as the games that I'll be ranking in this video. This list will become outdated eventually, but for now it's fine. Flappy Dragon Bird Thing has to be at number 10 since there isn't much to it, and I don't find myself ever going back to it. It's just a worse Flappy Bird clone, and I never liked or thought that game was fun either. Give the game a try if you liked Flappy Bird, but I don't think you'll give it much thought after playing it one time. World 1 at number 9 might feel criminal, but while I do know that it's very popular, I don't think it holds up at all. Nothing is really fleshed out and I cannot stand the physics of the game, especially going back to some of the newer games in the series. It still is fun and it was a great starting point for the series, bringing us many characters that are still seen in the games to follow, but it just isn't anything special. It feels like a test demo and obviously it had many flaws considering Brad has remade it twice with a remix and remaster. World 1 at number 8 because while I do think it is much better than the original as it adds and fixes things that the first one didn't have, there are still problems with it. The biggest problem being that it is limited by how simple World 1 was. We'll give it credit that it does add some things to expand and make World 1 even better. The physics are a step up and the levels are much more creative, like the boss for example. Fancy Snowboarding at number 7 might be very controversial, but I love this game and I think it is the most underrated entry in the series. I love how creative this game is and the idea of having to draw platforms to move ahead. I would admit that there are a lot of things that are missing or wrong with it, like no music or not enough levels. If it was executed a bit better, I think I would have it even higher on my list, but like I've already stated, I do believe this is going to be controversial at number 7. World 4 at number 6 is kind of silly as this is just Super but in Flash and broken into parts. You get only half of the story of Super but it's free, so if you want to know if you should buy Super, then maybe play this one first. The physics are insanely good and easily the best in the series, but I think you'd be missing out if you don't play Super and only play this game. I'll talk more about Super when I rank it, but I really don't know what more to say with this entry as it is just Super. I think the problem with World 4 is it's just the first half of Super, and the second half is really I think where it shines. World 1 Remaster at number 5 felt like a no-brainer to me. It's better than both of the other World 1s simply because the physics are better, but it also does come with World 1 and the remix, making both of the previous entries irrelevant to me. I should mention that Cutie Pants is also playable, which alone makes this an amazing entry. She adds a lot of depth with her cat grappling hook and the new level area made just for her. I do really like what's added upon the previous World 1 entries here, so I would recommend this game if you liked World 1. Super Fancy Pants at number 4 was actually a hard decision for me to make, as the ones right ahead of it are just barely better in my opinion. This is just World 4 but with more content. This game has the smoothest gameplay in all the series, but the story could have been better. I think it falls flat in some areas like the boss fights and the enemies, and I really don't care for the pen combat. With some of the negatives out of the way, the game is still really fun to play through, and I find myself going back to it just for movement alone. The engine is easily the best in the series, and it makes it hard for me to go back sometimes to play the other games. One of my favorite parts of the game are the arcade machines packed with races and different fun games. World 3 at number 3 was actually not an easy decision as I do think it's very close to Super. The platform is very fun and we get an introduction to the pencil and combat. I do think the engine is lackluster in some areas, but it's not awful and it was a good starting point for the pencil. This is really the first game in the series with a story throughout, so it gets a huge bonus point for that. The music is just so consistently good, but that can be said with most of the games in the list. The Fancy Pants Adventures at number 2 makes sense to me because it's basically just a World 3 Flash version with more content and just some differences in gameplay. Everything I liked about the Flash version applies here except this game has World 1 and World 2 and some really fun multiplayer stuff. I used to spend a lot of time playing the different multiplayer games and overall it's just a really good game. It feels like almost everything I would want from a Fancy Pants game. World 2 at number 1 simply because I think it has everything that I want from a Fancy Pants game. The platforming is so good and the extra bonus levels are some of my favorite levels in the series. The snail golf was pretty silly, but it was a unique way to introduce Pants colors. You have a very small story element with the rabbit, which isn't amazing, and the game doesn't really explore different enemies overall. The level backgrounds are some of the best in the series and so is the music. Oh yeah, and we introduced the mayor in the game. I know I didn't go into crazy detail with some of these entries, so if you want to ask me anything that I might have missed, just ask me in the comments. Again, a huge shout out to Luke Plays for inspiring me to make this. You can also push your rankings in the comments if you really want.
Phones getting smart. smarter, people getting dumber. It's becoming more apparent to me in the heat of summer. So why you think I'm chilling? Ain't replied to nothing, like I went and changed my number. Social media's a bummer, yeah. Notifications stacking up like I'm playing Jenga, sleeping on them till they loud enough to wake me from my slumber.